Welcome back to the Comicstorian channel, where we take some of your favorite universes out there, be it a video game, a movie, a TV show, or a comic book, and we break down the storylines that happen in and around it with an audio drama. We basically add some music in, we give you some epic sounding voiceovers, or at least a lot of you guys tell me it's epic, and we allow you to keep up with your favorite pop culture universe while getting on with your busy day. Today is part 2 of Maximum Carnage. Here's a quick recap. Carnage broke out of Ravencroft Institute and teamed up with Shriek and Doppelganger. He then battled against Venom, throwing him to the curb, so Venom had to go to Spider-Man's house, where Spider-Man had already dealt with Shriek and Doppelganger and realized something was wrong, but he wasn't aware that Carnage was there at the moment. This story takes place in the 90s, so keep in mind of a couple elements. 1, Venom is known as the Lethal Protector. 2, Carnage is supposedly dead at this point. 3, Peter Parker and Mary Jane are actually married right now. And 4, Peter Parker's dad is alive in this continuity, as apparently he was only being held prisoner in a Soviet prison for 20 years. Maybe I'll tell that story one day, but either way, if you guys want to tell me how much you like Carnage or dislike Carnage, let me know in the comments down below. And don't forget to check us out over at Twitter at Comicstorian, as we are attempting to build our Twitter presence and could use your help. Now, let's get into Maximum Carnage number 2. Back in town, Carnage breaks through a wall yelling, "Come on everyone! There's no place like home!" Shriek walks in asking, "How do you like it?" This is where they stored the stage props for all the rock shows. Learned about it when I was a groupie. Carnage brings in everyone, stating, "This is great! Anything that we put our minds to, we can do! Together!" Shriek says, "That's wonderful! And there's just one thing. It smells a lot like sulfur." And outside of the building, Demo Goblin is making his way in. Meanwhile, back with Spider-Man, Mary Jane shouts, "Get this thing out of our apartment now!" But Spider-Man tries to tell her that Eddie is in no shape to be moved. She stops him mid-sentence though, yelling, "Blast it, Peter! You can't even keep your promise about not being Spider-Man for 5 minutes. It's bad enough waiting for someone to kill you on the street, but I'm not gonna watch it happen in my own home." She storms out of the apartment. So Spider-Man helps Venom up onto the couch and he asks, "Do you really think we wanted to come here? I only came here because Carnage is back." Spider-Man asks how. "Didn't we destroy him back at Madison Square Garden?" Venom says that he's not sure how the alien survived, because his other would have sensed it. All he needs right now is to rest. Spider-Man grabs his costume, stating that he should throw Venom in the vault, but then again, he may also be his best bet for nailing Carnage. So with Mary Jane gone and Venom passed out, what else can he turn to? Moments later, in Black Cat's sun-brightened bedroom, Black Cat wakes up yawning, stating, "That felt good. Maybe I should lie back down for another 10 hours. But just then, Spider-Man clears his throat. Can we talk? After having some coffee, Spider-Man explains the situation, with Black Cat telling him that it's obvious what they need to do. They gotta help Venom. Back over at the stage prop warehouse, Carnage asks, "What to hit next? There are so many targets!" Demo Goblin says that he finds himself having the same problem. "But by following the psychic link to my ex-partner, the Doppelganger, I have found my next victims." Shriek throws out a sonic blast to Demo Goblin asking, "Did you really think that would do something? Your blasts do nothing more than make noise." He throws a pumpkin bomb with Shriek yelling to the Doppelganger to do something. But after having Demo Goblin as an actual partner in the past, he's conflicted on who he should help. Carnage then jumps up grabbing Demo Goblin, yelling, "I will deal with this." Demo Goblin burns away the tendrils, telling him, "You can feel the pain of hellfire. While you and your foul companions lie in pieces, there will be others to punish. I won't stop until every sinner in this world is but bone and ash." Carnage says, Whoa! You want to kill people? Well, cripes! Why didn't you say so? All you gotta do is join us!" Over at Black Cat's apartment, though, Spider-Man says there's gotta be a better solution. Partnering up with Venom? That would mean condoning his ruthless methods. Black Cat steps out of her room, getting the last of her costume on, stating, "Sometimes you have to deal with the devils to save the righteous. You coming?" Spider-Man hesitates, and Black Cat jumps out her window, telling him, "There's an old saying, if you're not a part of the solution, you're a part of the problem." So meanwhile, back at Spider-Man's apartment, Venom lifts the sofa that he was sleeping on, stating, "This is good. Our strength has returned." Black Cat jumps in, stating that that's not the only thing gruesome. Venom quickly changes into his costume, asking, "Do you want to play again?" Black Cat shouts at him, "Look, I don't want you. I want what you want. I've come to help put Carnage in a body bag." So Venom asks, "Did you come alone?" And seconds later, Spider-Man swings in, telling him, "No, she didn't. But let me be clear. I will help, but we've got some rules. First, we're here to save lives. Second, if anyone from either side tries to kill someone, I will stomp them. Over with Carnage, he tells his crew, "All right, boys and girls, time to get a little gnashing and gutting." A voice then calls out to them, "No, not now, not ever." Carnage turns back asking, "Who?" And from the shadows, Cloak steps out asking, "Surely you haven't forgotten what you have done to Dagger. You killed her, and now I have found you and you're going to pay." Shriek quickly hits him with a sonic blast from behind, and Carnage yells, "That's it! Get him while he's down, Doppelganger!" Doppelganger jumps on Cloak, with Spider-Man, Venom, and Black Cat jump in through the hole in the ceiling, with Venom yelling, "Carnage brains, yum!" As Spider-Man kicks Demogoblin, he tells himself that he knew that this was a mistake. Black Cat leaps towards Shriek, stating that it looks like the boys are busy. How about the two of them dance? Shriek calls out the Doppelganger, who grabs Black Cat by the leg with the razor webbing. The barbs cut through her boot, so Black Cat slashes at the webbing, stating, "Thankfully, my claws can do some snipping of their own." As she lands, Shriek then asks, "How about that dance?" Over with Venom, he shouts to Carnage, "Your senseless slaughter of innocents is about to end." Carnage yells, "Get real, Pops! I've almost scrubbed you and the spider before. This time, I ain't alone." Venom punches Carnage into Cloak's void, stating, "And neither are we." Spider-Man looks back thinking, "Wait, Cloak! I forgot about Cloak's rage. He's liable too." But Carnage then thrusts his arm out, grabbing onto the wall, pulling himself out, shouting, "Fat chance! With this costume, I'm even stronger than any dopey dimension." Spider-Man then scans over and sees Shriek, but before she can attack Black Cat, he webs her up, pulling her away. Once Carnage is free, he then shouts, "We have no time! We have better things to do! Demogoblin, flame the roof and shriek!" As Demogoblin works on the roof, Shriek says that she's got it. She then holds her hands together, firing a blast into the weakened ceiling. Spider-Man yells to the others that the place is falling apart, and Cloak is already teleported out. We have to leave. So Venom webs himself out, but the fight has left him weak, and soon he passes out, falling back onto the building. Then Spider-Man hears someone moaning and looks back to see Black Cat trapped under some debris, and he stops to ask himself, what does he do? If he lets Carnage go, hundreds could die. If he leaves Black Cat and Venom, they're gonna die. With no choice, Spider-Man goes back into the burning building, with Venom shouting, "What are you doing? You have to go after Carnage!" As Spider-Man weighs his options, Venom slowly picks himself up, crawling out of the building just before it explodes. A short while later, Spider-Man walks out asking if he's awake, and Venom then asks, "What about Carnage? Did you nail him?" Spider-Man sets Black Cat down, stating, "Of course not. Wasn't gonna leave Black Cat in there to roast." So Venom jumps to his feet, shouting, "What? Are you crazy? She doesn't matter. None of us matter. The only thing that's important is protecting the innocent." As Venom gets ready to swing at Spider-Man, Black Cat yells for them to stop. They're wasting time when Carnage and the others are getting away. So then she gets back up, with Spider-Man asking if she's okay to move. Is she really up for this? She pushes him away, stating that she's fine, and frankly, she would have been fine without his help. To think that she is some fragile little lady in distress who needs a hero to save her, she would have been fine. And Venom was right. Her life doesn't mean a thing if it's weighed against the slaughter that could be happening right now. So Spider-Man, fed up, simply tells them, "You know what? This little thing is over. I can't work with Venom and play by his bloodthirsty rules. I already came so close to selling out to what I believe in." So Venom webs off, telling him, "That's fine. Stay true, Webbrain. Keep being Mr. Moral. Us, we're gonna go save some lives. You coming, Pussycat?" Black Cat looks at Spider-Man and then swings away, telling Venom, "I'm right behind you." Later at Aunt May's house, Aunt May sets down a plate of cookies, asking Spider-Man what's wrong. He can't fool her and say it's nothing. He sighs, stating that it's personal. It's nothing that he can really get into. If only Uncle Ben was here, he'd know what to say. Spider-Man gets up, telling her, "Yeah, I used to think that he was figuring things out for himself, but then weeks later, I would realize it was all Ben's doing. He was such a great guy. He was like a father and best friend all rolled into one. He never steered me wrong either. Things are getting hard. Almost like a man can't tell what's right and wrong anymore." Aunt May tells him that she doesn't believe that, not even for a second. "We know what's right. Listen to your heart, Peter. That's what Uncle Ben did. He never took the easy way out. He did what was right. And whatever the problem is, you will figure it out." Spider-Man grabs his jacket, getting ready to leave, when his father, Richard, stops him, asking if he can have a moment. It's just he overheard what May was telling him, and Uncle Ben was wrong. Yes, he had good intentions, seeing the best in everyone, but that's not how things work. He too lived that way once, before he was locked away in a Soviet prison for nearly 20 years. Ben and May were wrong to fill his head with all these fairy tales about goodness and decency of the human heart. Sure, there are a few good men out there, and Ben was one of them. But look where that got him. Shot down like a dog. When it comes to dealing with the devils, there's no other way. It will try to consume you if you let them. You have to fight fire with fire. Use whatever means to stop the madness before it swallows you up. As the memories flood back, Richard leans against the wall sitting down, and Spider-Man tells him that he has to go. He rushes back into the city, going over what his father told him. He made some good points, but he can't give up everything that he's done and everything that he stands for. The average person he's dedicated his life to protecting, the Aunt Mays and the Uncle Bens of the world, they've never let him down? As Spider-Man swings over, he sees a riot breaking out, and he swings down to save a man from getting beat. He knocks the rioter out, asking the man what's going on. And the man says the whole city's going crazy. Since that nut Carnage is loose, it's like every bloodthirsty person in New York is coming crawling out. You can't stop them, nobody can. Spider-Man looks back as the mob surrounds him, and they begin to swing their clubs and bats pinning him down. He begins to fight his way out, throwing the people off of him, shouting, "Stop! Okay, you want to act like devils? Then I'm going to treat you like devils. I'm tired of holding back, of being cautious, trying so hard to draw a moral line that no one even sees anymore. From here on out, I'm going to do whatever it takes to keep the city from going down in flames. From this moment on, you'll get no mercy from Spider-Man." But meanwhile, in the streets of New York, Morbius the living vampire takes out a group of thugs robbing a poor defenseless woman. However, he isn't doing it out of the kindness of his heart. He's doing it to feed. Just as Morbius bites down onto one of the thugs, he hears clapping in the distance, and he shouts, asking, "Who dares interrupt?" Venom swings down, stating, "We're in need of someone with your kind of skills." But Black Cat here is still trying to cling to what's left of her precious morality. Morbius tells him that his bloodthirst is sated, if only for the moment. So Venom tells him, "That's good, because we're hunting down the juiciest of morsels at this mushrooming madness at its source." Black Cat steps in, telling them both, Carnage has to be stopped, but nobody has to die. Later, at the grand opening of New York's hottest new club, The Deep, Carnage and his friends decide to make a splash. Carnage begins slaughtering everyone there, stating, "This is it, folks! We are trend-setting here!" And just as the party really starts to start up, Cloak teleports in with Black Cat, and she comes crashing down on the doppelganger. Carnage then laughs, stating, "I really do like your style. But last time I checked, we have the numbers." Just then, Venom and Morbius burst in through the wall with Venom yelling, "Knock, knock! Come to Papa, Carnage!" Shriek jumps up, stating, "Looks like the gang is all here, except for your spider pet." And Venom yells that Morbius is here, ready, willing, and more than able to fill in for the cowardly Spider-Man's boots. So Venom whips Carnage away, stating that he had the wrong choice of potential victims as he notices someone in the club, Mary Jane. Venom leans down, licking Mary Jane's face, stating, "This one's a keeper. Just don't bother thanking us, Mrs. Parker. Just tell Petey that we're even with him for rescuing his ex-wife." Suddenly, there are flashes of lights as the news crew begin to pour in, trying to get coverage. Carnage grabs the cameraman, telling him to make sure to get his good side, and Morbius leaps into the air, telling Carnage that his reign of terror ends here and now. With Morbius dealing with Demogoblin, and Black Cat on Shriek, and Cloak on Doppelganger, that leaves Carnage and Venom to duke it out. But as Spider-Man breaks into the wall, he says the odds just increased for the underdogs and everything's busted wide open. Venom asks Spider-Man, "Did you finally find your courage?" And Spider-Man tells him, "It's more like I found a reason to sink to your level, and I don't have to like it." Carnage turns and lunges at Spider-Man, telling him, "That's perfect! A change of heart! And speaking of, you're gonna make an excellent appetizer!" Spider-Man jumps up, dodging Carnage's attack, and as he comes back down, he joins in with Black Cat, asking, "May I?" And Black Cat tells him, "Anytime, Spider Stud." Carnage begins lashing out, shouting, "You pathetic, arrogant fools! It will be your very downfall!" But as Cloak is struggling with Shriek, Shriek says that they really are just as crazy as them, and she's really getting to like that. Carnage then yells to Demogoblin to bring the house down. They have other places to be. But just before Spider-Man can follow, he sees Mary Jane swinging down, asking, "What are you doing here, MJ?" The explosion goes off with Spider-Man quickly scooping her up and jumping out of the way of the falling debris. Venom calls out to everyone to push through the rubble and head straight for the wackos. But Spider-Man stops him, telling him, "No, there are more innocent bystanders who are trapped, and you owe me for the save." Venom grumbles, "Fine. Let's hurry and get the rest of the people out of here before they realize what we're doing." Morbius and Venom finish up with the aid, and they swing out, stating that he can come with them so long as he can keep up. But as everyone leaves, Spider-Man tells himself that this is what it's finally come down to. Even scum like Venom can't even trust him. And if he's on Venom's side for this, he better start acting like it. And there you have it, Maximum Carnage Chapter 2 is completed. Now, don't forget to subscribe to this channel, as every week we are bringing you another chapter of Maximum Carnage. But if you can't wait until next week, consider joining our Patreon and becoming a Comicstorian Premium member. For only $2, you get early access to all of the videos that come out over here, along with early access to our Tales of Earth videos and some of our EM videos and unedited versions of our podcasts. Just pretty much us giving back to you for helping us out. Consider that if you want, otherwise we'll see you next week with Maximum Carnage!